Lord Ullin's Daughter by Thomas Campbell. Thomas Campbell is a Scottish poet who wrote motivational literature, often very emotional, so much so that people remember him as much for his poems as for his stirring patriotic war songs. Synopsis. Scotland is surrounded by many small islands with deep blue lakes, which are called lochs, and rocky islets dotting the coastline. Lord Ullin's Daughter is a romantic poem about how a young Scottish chieftain flees with a pretty daughter of another chieftain, a furious man who did not quite approve of the match. On a certain day, the brave young chief of Ulva Island and Lord Ullin's winsome daughter decide to elope and get married, much against the old man's will. After a hot pursuit of the eloping couple for 3 days, when Lord Ullin reached the coast, he was dismayed to find his daughter and the young chieftain had already got into a rowboat, cast off, and were in the thick of stormy, rough seas, raging with towering, horrendous waves. Seeing the raging waves, the old chieftain's wrath changed into wailing, and he implored the young couple to come back, since he was willing to forgive the brave young chief. Sad to say, the sea was too rough and unforgiving. The waves washed over the fleeing couple, and they never came back. If you like sea stories, read The Cruel Sea, another fantastic story by Nicholas Montserrat. Lord Ullin's Daughter. Now let's read the poem in its totality. Lord Ullin's Daughter. A chieftain to the highlands bound cries, "Boatman, do not tarry, and I'll give thee a silver pound to row us over the ferry. Now, who be ye would cross Lochgyle this dark and stormy weather? Oh, I am the chief of Ulva's isle, and this Lord Ullin's daughter. And fast before her father's men 3 days we have fled together, for should he find us in the glen, my blood would stain the heather. His horsemen hard behind us ride, should they our steps discover, then who will cheer my bonny bride when they have slain her lover?" Outspoke the hardy Highland wight, "I'll go, my chief, I'm ready. It's not for your silver bright, but for your winsome lady. And by my word, the bonny bird in danger shall not tarry. So, though the waves are raging white, I'll row you over the ferry." By this the storm grew loud apace, the water wraith was shrieking, and in the scowl of heaven each face grew dark as they were speaking. But still as wilder blew the wind, and as the night grew drearier, adown the glen rode armed men, their trampling sounded nearer. "Oh, haste thee, haste," the lady cries, "though tempests round us gather, I'll meet the raging of the skies, but not an angry father. The boat has left a stormy land and a stormy sea before her, when, oh, too strong for human hand, the tempest gathered over her. And still they rode amidst the roar of waters fast prevailing. Lord Ullin reached that fatal shore, his wrath was changed to wailing. For sore dismayed through storm and shade, his child he did discover. One lovely hand she stretched for aid, and one was round her lover. Come back, he cried in grief across the stormy water, and I'll forgive your Highland chief, my daughter, oh my daughter." 'Twas in vain. The loud waves lashed the shore, return or aid preventing. The water wild went over his child, and he was left lamenting. Look at the towering waves and the raging sea that can shatter a boat on the rocks. Here are some new words for you to learn. Tarry, means to linger, dally or waste time. An isle is an island. Glen is a Scottish word, a deep, narrow valley, especially in the mountains of Scotland. Heather is a low, spreading plant with woody stems, small, spiky leaves, and purple, pink, or white flowers. Bonny is a Scottish Old English word which means lovely or attractive. White means valiant, skilled in fighting. Winsome, pleasing because of a childlike charm and innocence. Raging, angry, furious. Apace, which means quickly. In another poem you might read, work apace, 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 which means work quickly, work fast. Wraith is a ghost, a spectre, or a spirit. Scowl is a frown, black, dirty look. Adown, this is an archaic word which means coming down. Trampling, it's like the hooves of horses. It means stamping, treading, or walking over. Prevailing means conquering, overcoming. Wrath means anger, exasperation. Wailing, lamenting, crying, bemoaning. Sore, in pain, distressed, pained. Dismayed, which means disconcerted, shocked, disturbed. Vain, which means futile, useless, to no avail. Lashed, beat against, pounded, dashed against. Lamenting, wailing, moaning, sobbing. Here is a picture showing you the tranquil waters in the Loch of Scotland. And there is another picture of the many moods of the sea. The sea can be a very, very gentle servant, but it can be an evil master. So man has always learned to go along with the sea. Here's a picture of a Highland brave and a winsome young Highlander. The Scottish clans, which means the families, often fought pitched battles against one another. How futile. Each clan had distinctive tartan checks when they wore their skirts. Men wore skirts also, and stockings and garters, and they tucked a dirk, which is a dagger, in their stocking. Today's Scotsmen wear neckties which are reminiscent of their traditional tartan insignia or their family sign. Some more tartan checks in different Scottish costumes for you to have a look at. And Scottish bagpipe is traditional musical instrument in the Highland, Scotland. Apart from feeling emotional about this poem, do you feel you have learned something new about Scotland, about the Highlanders and their traditions? Auld Syne. What's that? Learn something about Auld Syne. You can even hear it from a bagpipe. See you soon with a new lesson, the 7 Ages.